Alright, so it's finally time to get done what I probably should have got done before I started this whole thing, and that's removing all of the plastics and glass and everything else that's on the exterior and interior of this bus. So I start by removing the front windshield on here, cutting that seal out. And of course, it doesn't go exactly to plan. Every time, so it had a rock chip in it. Every time I remove a windshield and it's got any sort of damage to it, it always ends up splitting at that piece of damage. The Beetle did it, this one did it. I really probably should have done all of this before I started welding on the vehicle. I did that on the Beetle for the most part. And I think not doing that this time around really helped keep the motivation to work on this thing alive, you know, because it still looks like a running, driving vehicle, even though it's not that. I think it really helps the soul to feel like you can hop in this thing and take it for a ride at any time, even though that's not possible. But we're getting to the point where we're almost done welding in the metal, and I really wanted to check out and make sure that with all this stuff removed that we didn't have any more rust, which we are going to have to do some repair with the windshield removed. There's a hole where the windshield was, but that's not that difficult of a repair. We just got to make sure we take our time and make it look good, so that way your eye doesn't get drawn to it, considering the front of the vehicle is probably a big thing that everybody's going to look at and pay attention to. I've been nervous to take this dash out for a long time now. I don't really know why, but I think in my mind that if this came out, it probably wasn't going to go back together. Just because that meant we're going to have to wire in, we're getting closer to this being done. But it's got to come out, especially we want to do this right. We're going to paint the bus, we're going to strip the paint, and we're going to paint the whole thing. And in order to do that, we're going to have to remove this dash. So the dash is coming out. It was way easier than I thought, probably because somebody already cut all the wires, so I didn't have to really unplug anything other than a couple grounds. Just had to take a couple screws out and it was free. So easier than what I thought it would be. This should hopefully go in together pretty smooth, as long as I can continue to keep track of all the hardware and sort of remember where things go. So the bus didn't come with really any of the steering components on the steering column. It's got the column and crappy steering wheel. Doesn't have any of the wiper switches. Doesn't have the headlight switch, turn signal switch, you know. There's nothing there. None of the shrouds. I didn't realize this until almost a year into owning this vehicle. I always thought, I'm like, oh yeah, I need parts for it, and it looks a little weird. It's like, where's the key go if I had a key? And well, I don't know why. Maybe because I looked at the Beetle in a million pieces for so long that I just got used to seeing Volkswagens with a steel steering column with nothing on it. But obviously that's not going to work. And I didn't realize how hard it'd be to find one. I think I finally sourced one, and boy, is it more money than what I would like to spend. But I've also seen them go for even more money than what I got quoted for it, so I might be pulling the trigger on that. I might also still weigh about just picking up another bus and robbing it for parts, because I'm starting to realize I think I bought somebody's parts bus, which is fine. Makes the story better in the end, I guess. Having bought my Vanagon this past June here and replacing the pop top on that really gave me the confidence to remove this one. So much so that I kind of did it out of order of operations and forgot to zip tie the lift bars on it. So they kind of like smacked me in the face when we lifted it up, and we had to quickly compress them with all of our might and zip tie them shut. This really, in my mind previously, seemed like a really daunting task, but it's really not too bad. It's just a lot of screws. And I could have just cut the top if I wanted to, but I figured I was gonna have to take it apart anyway. And I'd rather have the topper, even though it's ripped, in as complete condition as I can, so that way I can ensure I get the right one when I go to replace this. The Vanagon's luggage tray is a lot easier to remove than this bay windows. It took me a while to figure out where the nuts were holding it on in order to remove it, which involved having to take this headliner out. I was really not wanting to do this because I was afraid of what I was going to find, and sure enough, there was some form of rodent's nest. I almost think it was a squirrel based off of the amount of seeds and nuts that were in here. But it doesn't really make sense to me how a squirrel would have got up here or fit in this cavity. So it's probably mice, just like the rest of it, but who knows. Getting the headliner out was definitely the most difficult process of getting this luggage tray out, but luckily I got it out in one piece without damaging it too much. We'll still replace it just because whatever rodent lived up here did its business on it, and it stained. Not that I don't think I can see it on the other side, but we'll cut a new piece and figure out how to fit this in here. I don't think that's going to be a fun day trying to reinstall all of that, but we got to do it to make it look right. Unless we want to do some weird shiplap thing that I see some people doing in vans, but I don't know if it's going to look right. Sometimes that looks pretty shoddy. Ideally, I'd like to put a high top on this if I can get my hands on one. I kind of like the look of that more than the pop top, but I'm also struggling to find those unless I find a parts bus. But in my neck of the country, what I'm looking for doesn't pop up too often. So yeah, if I wanted it, I'd have to drive probably to Arizona or Utah, which isn't a short trip. And of course, removing this revealed the weird pile of pine needles and leaves that every bus seems to have under these luggage trays. We'll have to get that cleaned up and remove the paint. And we'll get the lights and everything else removed here shortly as well. I'll see you guys next time.